Hey guys, welcome to another OpenLayers tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to work on adding vector layers to our map. We're going to add vector layers that you can have on your local machine. Now in order to serve those layers on a map on the web, kind of in production, you'll need to host those layers somewhere else other than your machine. But this will be a way that you can test things out to show what's going on. And it will also allow you, if you want to package up a web map to send to somebody, you can send them the web map and they can open things up and see what it looks like. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. The first thing I'm going to show you, I've done this already as I was testing it out. Notice I've added a data folder, and in here I have a polygons.geojson folder, or file, sorry. So just go ahead, you can click add a folder, add a data folder, and you'll probably want to use the GeoJSON format. If you just have a shapefile, like an Esri shapefile, you can convert it to GeoJSON with ArcMap or with QGIS. OpenLayers will also support Esri GeoJSONs. We'll just need to specify the format, and I'll show you where we can do that later. The other thing, if you're going to convert a file, make sure you convert the projection to WGS84. I believe the EPSG is 4326. Okay, OpenLayers is just going to work best. It'll keep things in the same projection. You can specify a projection. We're not going to cover that in this video, but you can specify a projection if your data are in a different projection. But if you have to convert them to a new GeoJSON file anyway, you might as well just change the projection as part of that conversion, which you can really do really easily in QGIS. Okay, so enough about kind of the background there. Let's go ahead and get started on actually adding a layer here. And before I do that, I'm going to make just one more note. You'll notice my file looks a little different over here than it has in the past. It's because I actually added a breakpoint there, which can go away. But I have this animate.js and this test.js. Those are just things I'm working on as I kind of develop the next tutorial to test things out. We're going to keep working and doing everything in the script.js, and these are kind of just there as my tests and for my notes. Okay. All right, and I think we can just delete this file, and it'll pop back up if we need it. So let's move that out of there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with adding a layer. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we're just going to make a new section down here, and we are going to add a vector layer. Okay, and so we'll need to create a variable for that. And I'm just going to make a constant variable, and we're going to call this, we'll call it example layer. Okay, and it is going to equal, we need to make a new OpenLayers layer for this to go into. And so we'll do a new ol.layer, and this is going to be a vector image. Okay, and we're going to specify some things here with an array. We need to specify our URL, which is a file path. And then we also need to specify a format, which will be GeoJSON. And so let's do the format first. So let's do new. Oh, sorry, we need a comma. I'm going to put a comma here after this, or we're going to get an error there. So let's put a comma there. So let's do new ol.format, and then we can do .geojson. Believe that is correct. Okay, and I'm just going to double check that for you to make sure we have it right. Okay, and that should be correct. So now we just need to specify the URL to our data. And if you've set this up like a project, like I've suggested you do, and you kind of have your data file folder, your libs folder, and then your project code files here, we can just reference this with the relative path. So ./data/polygons.geojson. All right. Okay, so we have that all set up there, and I'm going to save our progress there. Okay, so we are good to go as far as having that set up. All right, guys, and I just realized that I made an error here. So what we need to do is for our layer, we need to specify a source for our layer, and this information is going to be for the source of our layer, not for the layer itself. So let's come up here, and we're just going to fix that. So let's do source. And this source is going to specify that we're making a new vector layer to add to the vector image. So our source is going to be a new ol.source, and it's going to be a vector source. Okay, and then we're going to have our URL and our format in this. We're going to copy these, use Control X to cut actually, and then we'll hit enter inside of this array for our source, and we'll paste those in there, and we can tab that over. Okay, so that's how this should look. We should have a source, and it should not be equal. We should have a colon here to specify that it's a part of vector image. Okay, so my apologies for forgetting that little bit of code. That's why I have notes so I can go back and see what I forget. Okay, and now we need to set this layer to be visible. So we're just going to hit a comma here. And this is the source part of our array that defines our new layer. We're going to come down here and we're going to give the visible property. And we're just going to set that to true. We can also give it a title. So we'll say title. And we'll call this example polygons. Okay, so now we have this layer, and all we need to do is add that layer to the map. So we can come down here, we're just going to click map, and make it a map.add layer, and example layer. And make sure you end that with a semicolon. Okay, now if you're wondering what map is our OpenLayers map that we create with this, our initialization function. And so we're just adding a layer to that map. All right, let's go ahead and let's save this. And let's open this. And I'm going to tell you right now, when we open this, we're going to have an error, but I'm doing this on purpose so that I can show you how to fix it, okay? So let's go, I'm going to go to my example. I'm going to go to index.html. I'm going to open that up. Okay, and it doesn't show any errors. Our map still shows up, but if I zoom out, I change the zoom level here. You'll notice I don't see any polygons. Those polygons are pretty big. They should be covering part of the United States here. Now, let's right-click and go to Inspect. Okay, I'm going to pull this over just a little bit. And if I go to Console, this will tell me the output from my JavaScript. Notice here that it says that we can't access this file. It's been blocked. Cross-origins requests are only supported for these different protocols. Okay, so what's happening is it won't let us access this because the protocol is a file protocol, not an HTTPS protocol or HTTP protocol. Okay, this is going to be super easy to fix with Visual Studio Code, and this is why I kind of recommend using it for this application. Okay. We can just launch an HTTP server from Visual Studio Code using an extension. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go over to extensions, and we want to go to HTTP. We're just going to search for live server. And here we go. And so you see it says live server by Ritwick Day. That's the one we want to install. So I'm going to click install here. I'm going to install live server, and that is now installed, so we can close this. Now let me show you what that will do for us. So if I come over here to my index.html file, which is where I specify my map and my script, I can right-click, and now you see this open with live server. If I open this with the live server, it's going to basically set the server up so that it can display everything in my project. Let's go ahead and click open with live server. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom out, and you'll be able to see this. So now you can see I have these polygons, just some kind of crazy polygons that are layered over the top of this, and those are the polygons that I've added in this video. And so that's how you can add a layer to your OpenLayers web map with OpenLayers. I'm going to go ahead real quick. I'm going to go back over here to my script. I'm going to put this back to my files, but I'm going to go to my script here, and I'm just going to change my zoom level to like, I don't know, 4. And we'll save that. We'll come back over here, we'll refresh the map, and now you can see that it zooms out there so that we can see those polygons. Now these polygons, it doesn't matter how they're styled in your GIS. They're just going to be styled with the default OpenLayers styling. And there are ways you can change that we can go over here. Maybe we'll go over a simple way to change that in the next video. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. And stay tuned. In the next video, we can go over how to style those vector layers with OpenLayers.